Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. Today I'm going to prepare a wildcard draft. I do not think that the wildcard should be used right now. I think there are going to be way better weeks for you to activate the wildcard. But if some of you are eager to do it and want to be prepared, let's see how the team is going to look and how I plan to build my wildcard if I'm wildcarding now. We're going to prepare the 15 players here in Fantasy Premier League website where this is my lineup. This is my budget. 99.9. So yeah, I had a price drop of one of my players and none of them has risen with over 0.1. So I'm still under the budget. But if you are willing to activate everything now and start planning, we'll use that budget and we'll see how it goes. This is a big amount of budget. Most of the teams have already dropped significantly more. Some are at 100 million. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what is the case there. We're going to prepare that draft and then I'm going to put it into FPL.team and we're going to see how it's going to unfold in the future weeks. So if you enjoyed this type of video and want to see more, just point a comment down that you like it, what you don't like, what you like about that draft, what you see yourself doing. Are you preparing the wildcard draft just like I am, or you follow some different steps? Now we need to see the most important thing as per usual, and that's the captaincy option. So looking at the fixture difficulty rating, you are getting a captain and players from now up until basically your second wild card. So you need to have some plan for your captaincy and how you're going to prepare for everything that's coming your way. So looking at Gameweek 3, immediately you need a proper captain. Leicester, Villa, Brentford face Southampton, Chelsea face Crystal Palace, who are conceding a lot of goals. Everton face Bournemouth, Fulham faces Ipswich. So there is not a single captain that excites me like that, but there is a Manchester City fixture against West Ham, and that means that Haaland is once again a captaincy option. Haaland will take a lot of your budget, so I see a lot of players going without him. Now, have in mind that if you activate now the wild card and you do not have Haaland, you have to have a very specific plan on how to bring him back into the frame, as it's going to look trickier and trickier to start bringing him in. Like, your one direct option is to activate the wild card, but if you don't get him right now, it's going to get way trickier. So in my opinion, you should be starting with Erling Haaland on your wildcard draft. That means that Haaland is going to be the captain, and looking at the captaincy option, he is good for game week 3, game week 4 he's okay, then he is good for game week 7, 8 and 9. So that's good against Arsenal and against Newcastle. I'm not going to captain him. Maybe game week 4 we'll have to find another option, but let's now add Erling Haaland into the frame. And now we have our first captaincy option. He's 15 million for me. Did he rise in price? No. Oh yeah, he has risen in price, so it's going to cost you a little bit more if you don't already own him, but still it's not that big of a deal, especially when you earn a captain for the next. So West Ham, Brentford, Fulham, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, those are all fixtures that you can captain him. So in the next 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, you got him for 6 weeks. So that's a pretty good option. Looking now at game weeks 5 and 6, we need to find a proper one. So for 5 and 6, someone with a good fixture run. It's an Aston Villa player, which is not that bad. And especially for 4 as well. Brighton, Ipswich and Forest, but 4 and 5, 5 is not a good option. 6 is not a good option, sorry. Crystal Palace, no way. Everton, no way. Like, even though it's Leicester and Crystal Palace, that's a team from the bottom half. Liverpool look like a good team as a candidate to captain. So Forest and Bournemouth are good teams to follow. Elsewhere, no. But after that, Haaland has a 6 game week that's going to be hard. But Saka has 6 and 7. So that means that you need a captain for 5, basically. When City and Arsenal face, you can go for Cole Palmer. He's not a bad option. He's a captaincy option in all of the other weeks. But for game week 6 and 7, I would prefer an Arsenal player. So here you have 2 options. Either go for Mo Salah, who has 2 home fixtures in 4 and 5. So you're safe then. But then you have to move to Saka. Or start with Palmer. You have him as an option in 4, 5 and 6, and then you can in 7 to be fair, and you can then migrate to Saka and to have captaincy option from there. But to be fair, I would prefer to pick the best captaincy option going into game week 5, and that option is going to be Liverpool. Bournemouth at home, it's way easier than West Ham away for Liverpool's perspective. And before that, you can go for a Forest. So my second captaincy option is going to be Mohamed Salah. I'm restoring him. Did he rise in price? No, not yet. I know you're going to say that Palmer is a good option and he's 2 million cheaper. You're correct. I just don't like how Chelsea are playing currently. You think that's madness because they scored 6 goals, but still, I'm not quite sure in their powers currently. But Mohamed Salah for the next 2, even 3 weeks, he is an option. So even if something happens and you don't bring in Saka, he can play against Wolves away. So you can have him for 3 weeks. Then even for Crystal Palace away, he's a good option. Yeah, you can say the same for Palmer, but I just prefer Salah, to be fair, as Liverpool are flying and they're controlling the games way more. Now they may bring Chiesa. As of time of recording, that transfer is not completed yet. If that happens, you have to migrate in game week 6 away from Salah. But for now, I am not willing to start without him. So I'm going to spend the budget there. If you're looking to free up 2 million, you can drop Salah to Saka, to Palmer immediately. So now we are done with the captaincy up until game week 9. So that's how far ahead I prefer to look. Like we have a plan to bring in Saka for game week 7. So we are settled. We know how the captaincy is going to look. Everything seems reasonable. So we will continue forward. Like I'm used to doing, I'm planning to bring in now the cheap options as I know what budget I want to have at the end. So I'm going to bring in the backup goalkeeper. We don't have anyone yet that is emerging as an option, so Bentley remains to the squad. The defender at 4.5, I don't know if Harwood Bellis has risen. No, he hasn't, so Harwood Bellis will appear into the squad. He's the most probably the best option. He has Ipswich, he has Leicester, he has Everton, so you can play him in several games. So Harwood Bellis is a great option, in my opinion. And then I'm going to return the 4.5 option that I have, and that is Sangare. Now, the budget is spent, so we can now start preparing with the rest of the squad. What I tend to do is now I'm going to pick my core of players. So that means players that are going to remain into my squad no matter what happens. Because now without a wildcard, I cannot keep rotating players like crazy or just to have a specific fixtures target. I want to have players that are generally good and that can bring me a lot of points throughout the whole season. So one of those players immediately that's emerging into midfield is called Brian Mbumo. He has a fixture against Southampton, so it's a good week to bring him in. Tony is 99.9% leaving, and after game week 5, even after game week 4, the fixtures are getting better and better. I believe up until game week, maybe game week 19, they're not facing a defense that is going you to say, okay, they are not going to score. So that's my first player that's a season holder. You can argue between Mbumo and Teze. For me, they're the same player currently. Mbumo just has an easier fixture run going forward. Southampton at home, yeah. I know that Eze is having Leicester, Everton, so that does not look hard. But after that, it gets a little bit tricky, like Liverpool. I might be looking here to transfer him out. Spurs, maybe good, maybe not, I'm not sure. But Mbumo, amazing fixture run, and you can rely on him. He's most probably on penalties. He's taking a lot of the set pieces, so he's doing amazingly well. And for sure, he is one of the season holders that you can leave him there and he will give you points regularly. Now we're done with that pick. Another pick that is regularly going to give you points. It's called what happened? Oh no, I'm looking for a defender. Alexander Arnold. He is the best defender in the game currently, in my opinion. 30% ownership. I'm looking a way to find him right into my squad. So yeah, for me, he is the player in Liverpool that you can hold for a season long. I know that he is currently being rotated and being taken out around the 70 minute, which is not ideal, but he's due on a return, almost 2 expected goal ratio, and he hasn't returned yet, which might be a problem, but you get him for Forest, for Bournemouth, for Wolves, even for Palace. Then Chelsea and Arsenal a little bit tricky, but you can always rely on Trent, and then Brighton, Southampton, a mixed bag of fixtures, but still Forest and Bournemouth is your main target to begin with. So now you are set with a good defender to start the season with. There are now two options for you to go for a expensive goalkeeper and a little bit of a cheaper defender, or go the other way around. I prefer to have more funds spread elsewhere apart from my goalkeeper position, because if I have, let's say, 5.5 invested in there and I want to improve somewhere else, I need to transfer the budget from there. So everyone is going to hate me when I say I'm not going to go for Raya, but I will be 1000% going for an Arsenal defender, and that defender is going to be Saliba. I'm still preferring the Arsenal defense apart from Raya, because if they tend to get better and better, they are going to get more points. I know that currently Raya is the top goalkeeper and the top player with 18 points, if I'm not mistaken, but having funds in the goalkeepers department that early in the game without a wild card left, maybe I understand if someone started the season with and then moves away from him, but still I'm not quite willing to take the risk and still remain with him. So I'm going to pick Saliba, the most nailed defender. I know a couple of fixtures are hard, but after that easy, hard. But after that, yeah, it's just Arsenal, and they are going to keep way more clean sheets than the rest of the teams. And Saliba is the most nailed one, even though he's 6 million. Get him until he's that cheap. Next up, we don't have a forward, we don't have a goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper is going to be easy. I'm going to bring in Flecken. It's not a surprise. If I have to say, he is doing way better than Henderson. Already 7 points without a clean sheet. A lot of expected goals conceded, and to be fair, they conceded 3 of them, but with 4 expected, so he's making some saves. Now, I know that Southampton is easy fixture, then City and Spurs away, it's hard, but then you can see several clean sheets in the long run, and up until the start of the until you use your next wildcard, I believe that Flecken is going to generate more and more points. Now we have left 35.4 million budget. So immediately I'm going to populate the defense with some options that are going to be good for the next couple of weeks. And then we're going to swiftly move into the forward line and just adjust the players. So first of all, I'm going to bring in Robinson immediately. Like, I cannot go now without him. He's 4.6. He has risen in price a little bit, but up until game week 15, I don't see several hard issues. Yes, Spurs, okay, he can rotate him, and City, you can rotate him there in 7, but apart from that, that's it. I know that I will be not going for a Spurs defender currently, as Pedro Porro is one of my favorites, but him being my favorite, now with that fixture and that's coming for Spurs, like if you see, in game week 7 then it's get a little bit easier, but Newcastle, Arsenal, Brentford, United, Brighton, they can all score goals, so yeah, a little bit trickier than expected. Then Ipswich is okay, Fulham, Bournemouth, but still I'm not willing to go into that direction, so I'm going to pick him right now. And another team with amazing fixture run currently and that we can rely on them is Aston Villa, and I have Pau Torres, and I'm going to introduce him into the squad pack, because now I like him how he performs. Maybe Conce is a good option, but I think I don't know if he's playing right back or a center back, because Maciej Cash got injury. Nedeljkovic is an option at 4.0, but I just want an out player. As with the wild card, I don't want to have to deliberate. Now we've have 26 million yet to invest, and the player that I'm going to go next is a cheap option, and that cheap option is going to be Rodgers. For me, he's the best Villa player, and with that fixture run up until game week 9, you cannot go wrong. There are several players at that price point that are emerging as option, but for now, for the next several weeks, I believe that Rodgers is going to be the best option to go for, and I'm putting him into my squad. Moving swiftly into the next weeks, we need to find some players with great fixtures. Chelsea are such a team, but I just cannot pinpoint how they are going to look. If they get Ivan Toney though, Ivan Toney will become a probable option. Crystal Palace, I don't think they're currently doing too well. Everton, it's a little bit tricky. I might go for Calvert-Lewin, but I'm most probably going to avoid. Fulham is an option, so I might consider players from them. Ipswich are a good option as well. You can go with the 3-5-2. We don't have a 4.5 striker that is emerging, but still you can go for and improve there. You already own for Liverpool, you already own from City. Manchester United is not that amazing run of fixtures. Newcastle, it gets trickier and trickier, like the home fixtures are the harder ones. So I'm not willing to invest too much in their Forest. Yeah, it looks alrightish. So Forest might be a team to get players from. Spurs, West Ham, Forest, several hard fixtures for the next teams, but I'm quite hesitant should I go for an Ipswich player, because that run of fixtures is not going to get any better for them. I have a player in the name of Smodic. He was the top goal scorer last season for the championship, and he's 6 million. He next 10 fixtures apart from Villa, I see a lot of goals being scored, and if they want to remain into the Prem, that is the period that they want to provide. So I'm going to go there and just pick Smodic. I know that's a little bit strange to go for such a player, but still I'd quite like him. Next up, with good fixture run in the shorter term, is Brighton. I know that they face Arsenal. I know that they have Ipswich and Forest after that. Then it's Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle, Wolves, but they tend to score goals, especially at home, by the looks of it. So, and even away from home, they scored several. Chelsea, as already mentioned, maybe Ivan Toney becomes a solid option. I'm not quite sure. Fulham, I need to consider a player from Fulham. So the player that I'm going to consider immediately is going to be Muniz. I cannot hide that I like him a lot as a player, so Muniz gets the nod here into my team. He has not scored yet, but still I believe that he can provide pretty soon. And then we're left with either one striker option or one midfield option. And with the fixture run that you are having, I'm not looking to not go for Watkins. I know that he has not been performing amazingly well, but still, Watkins feel like a pretty solid player. Yeah, a lot of your money is spent spreadly, but still, I'd quite like how it does look. You see the team that we have 0.3, so this budget is 99.6. I'm not sure if all the players that I've got haven't risen in price. Maybe Haaland has risen and Robinson. And that's it from the players that I own. So it's looking like a solid wildcard draft. Let's put it into FPL team and see how it looks. So in Go, we're going to get Flecken. Next up, Robinson, Poru is gone. We're getting Trent. Here we're getting Saliba. Here, Pau remains. Here is Harwood Bellis. So I'm activating the wildcard. Here, Mbumo is an option. Salah remains. Here is Smodic. Here is going to be Rogers. Here we get Muniz. And here we get Watkins. So that's the draft currently. Haaland, captaincy, Watkins, good fixtures. Rogers with good fixtures. I know that Villa hasn't scored a lot and they have not been involved, but after the international break, I feel like Watkins is going to get his full minutes. So it's looking pretty nice. You have Leicester for Pau Torres and Robinson. So yeah, you're going to decide whatever you feel like doing. I'll be honestly, if I'm owning that defense, going with Robinson. Then in game week 4, Mbumo is not optimal, so and Saliba is not optimal, so we can easily swap Saliba with the Spurs with Pau Torres, and you get a proper one. I believe Mbumo is option for scoring. There I'm making Salah my captain's option, so that's good. In game week 5, we're storing the transfer, no need to do anything. City for Saliba, he's onto the bench. Here you can go for even Harwood Bellis if you feel like, but you have Smodic, so you're not going to do that. Then in game week 6 happens, Pau Torres, Ipswich, but Saliba against Leicester. I'm going to do that. And here it's time to bring in the main man Saka. So you have options, then you move to game week 7 and you're already with 4 transfers. You can bring in a defender that's doing well. You can bring someone, like you have several options. So yeah, I quite like this wildcard draft, to be fair, looking like that. Write down in the comment section what do you feel about that wildcard. We have a lot of players. We have several punts like Smodic and Mbumo. It's not that much. We don't have Joao Pedro or Mitoma, which might be a problem, but Muniz can easily be Joao Pedro. So if you prefer a Brighton asset compared to Fulham's asset, go for Joao Pedro currently. He looks like the most advanced forward. If you're looking for something else, yeah, you can rotate around. But I believe that this squad looks nice. If someone emerges, you can transfer out Saliba or Trent. You can, when you take Salah out, you have money, so you can move Rodgers away, you can move Smodic away, you can invest in someone else. So yeah, I quite feel like this draft is looking solid. You can swap out Watkins. So yeah, I like that draft. I like it a lot. Share your opinion about it. What do you think about it? I don't know the rest of the community who are they picking as option for the wildcard, but for me that looks pretty solid. I want to hear your opinion. I want to see you joining my community. I like it when it grows larger and larger, and we can chat with more people. You can join the Discord, you can join the mini league, you can do all of those amazing stuff. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.